So here's a lady from those courts at Tukotu, beat all the top women players in New Zealand with no formal coaching, and next thing on a plane to Wimbledon, competing and beating most of the world's best. And could have been world famous as Venus and Serena Williams. But in our little nation here, sadly, she hadn't got those accolades.
Anybody born in Kotu was born with a racket in their hand, and we spent most of our childhood following our parents from marae to marae.
There were courts right around the lakes. It was the Māori lawn tennis was very strong in those days.
Ruia came from that volleyboard that was erected in her backyard by her father, pinpointing marks on the board where to hit the ball to. Just whatever her father Waki said was God.
I think he saw more in her than what he did. Well, we were just normal, but he could see her potential.
Daddy put me in the juniors. And I said, "But how many matches do I play? If you win, you get to play 4. If you win again, you may get 5. And that's all I did. Was to go from one court to another and play, because I kept winning, you see.
No, she was like a ballerina on the court. I used to watch her and think, God.
She was just a beautiful stroke maker, effortless. Had the best backhand, the best forehand, the best volley, best overhead. She had everything.
Oh, she was like the man. She was just a natural, yeah.
Ruia dominated all Māori tournaments. And she played straight into korowai and beat everyone in Auckland, and then, of course, carried on and eventually won 6 New Zealand singles titles. But New Zealand weren't going to pick her up. No way at all. I don't know what their thinking would have been like, but how this little Māori girl going to fit into our team?
But that is John Waititi, a visionary, a man so humble. He was the one who saw my potential with Dad.
He said, this girl has got to go overseas and play. We've got to get her to Wimbledon.
And then he found a way of fundraising. Firstly, we'll ask all the Maori bands in New Zealand at that time to come to a concert at the Auckland Town Hall for free.
And they got the Māori community behind them, and they raised that 2,000 odd pounds, and in those days enough to send it for 2, 3, 4 times.
We were so ecstatic about it. Our little girl going all the way to Wimbledon and the first Māori to go and represent her race. It was marvellous.
And of course the story goes, you know, she arrives at Wimbledon to compete against the best in the world.
I remember how beautiful the building was because of the ivy, the green ivy hanging over everything. I was fascinated with the grass. Boy, I thought, this is it. This was it. Well, it reminded me of the farm too, but playing on the grass was just heaven. I was well schooled up to just focus on what I wanted to do, and is to get on the court and play. It was normal for me not to take notice of the crowd. They're not going to win the games for you, are they?
So here's a lady from those courts at Tukotu. They went on, won a junior Māori tennis tournament, won the tournaments at Government Gardens, into marae tennis, came to Auckland, beat all the top players in Auckland, beat all the top women players in New Zealand, competing and beating most of the world's best.
It was in the paper that I got into the quarterfinals. I thought it was the round before the quarterfinals, but apparently, according to Wimbledon and everybody else, it was the quarterfinals.
We did ask her one time, with all your achievements, Aotearoa, when you're away, were you ever seeded or ranked? Because in those days, they had no computer rankings and no seedings. But she said I was sort of graded, if you like, in the top 10 in the world. The headlines in the papers in London was, Ruia visualised as one of the world's best only if she would stay on after Wimbledon and do the circuits. But she wanted to get home to mummy and daddy and kuia. Her whakamā, you know, she missed home. And that's what our people are like. When New Zealand tennis had its centenary, and they invited her good friend, Fred Perry, famous. He arrived at Wellington and was thankful of the do and beautiful setup. He said, oh, where is Ruia Morrison?
They were celebrating it and I wasn't invited. But I didn't even know it was on.
That humble lady never questioned it, took it on her shoulders and just moved on. We had to, and not others, acknowledge this lady.
It is really sad to know that Auntie Ruia hasn't been recognised within our own country, that people, like she was forgotten tennis legend.
When we think about it, it's quite important that she should be recognised for that. I mean, she deserves to be recognised and I hope she will be recognised.
Maybe we don't put an emphasis on our Māori achievers, which we should do, and acknowledge them more readily in society. And maybe that's our own fault here in New Zealand. We're not doing that and be proud of our achievers.
So, you know, that sad part, we have to live with that. So we're trying hard, Māori tennis and others are trying hard to rectify that.
I didn't know this was going to be set up. Those are my stats. Yeah, from 1954. Yeah. Well, international events as well.
Australian Open, French Open.
I've got to take a copy of that for myself.
Have you got one of those?
Well, I haven't seen them all in one place.
Oh.
And that was taken when I was playing a doubles with the top player in Belgium. I remember playing my little heart out on that game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I could have put a smile on my face if I knew I was going to be a cardboard image. Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
That's a nice size. Yeah, not too long.
I put it down.
Oh.
That's the fern. This
The fern.
to represent New Zealand.
Yeah.
This design here is for the warrior stance, when you're taking on the challenge of your next opponent. Or...
Very, very well.
Yeah.
The humility is, gets here. Yeah. Yeah, it's hit me right here. As to think that something like this would be, I would be worthy of anything like this happening. You know? For someone who just wanted to sit on the court and still does and hit a ball, not to win and not to lose, but just to sit there and enjoy the game.
Okay. 63 years ago, Ruia Morrison became the first New Zealand woman of colour to play in a Grand Slam. How does it feel to be the first wearer of the Ruia Morrison korowai that was presented to you today?
Well, yeah, I was learning about it, and I had no idea it was that deep, and so I felt really honored and really, really special, especially with her story. So it was really good for me. It's just so many things that you appreciate so much, as you know, for me at least, as my career continues to go.
That great big ASB Classic we witness at the moment, Ruia is not told enough that she won that tournament twice and beat Margaret Court Smith in one of those finals, who's the greatest Grand Slam winner in the world. And if her father, if you could liken it to those Williams I refer back, if her father maybe could have travelled with her and stayed with her overseas for best part of the year, she would have been #1 in the world.